This is a tricky question, first of all, because I think it depends on the age group. And why I say that is I think that right now, especially, there are a lot of people is with the economical changes and the environment that we're in now. I feel like people are overestimating how much they need. And again, this is something that I'm seeing now. I think that people were taught certain circumstances for so long, and for you listeners out there, you guys know, I mean, exactly what I'm talking about, right? The financial rules that you were taught since you were young: save, invest, do this, do that, and then all of a sudden retire at the age of blank with blank amount of money, or hey, I need this much amount of money to pay for this much amount of income.
You make
The
it sound so
sad
easy, though. That's
the sad thing is, though, Jim, is everything's so different now,
that's
right?
right.
Things change, and
Hmm.
and and we talk about this, and I always go back to it, but and Jim, I've got to admit, man, though, I think I'll be saying this pretty much every single client I'm ever really talking to in an appointment, because you said it just right as far as how it sounds or how you can kind of, you know, uh, paraphrase it, but you got to
Hmm.
be able to shift your sails.
Sure.
You
Yeah.
just have to. You have to get to the right directions and to use the wind or use, the environment that you have to get you to the right place. Things are going to change. So I think right now, for that question, I think that people are definitely right now overestimating. And why I say that is because I, I would say a good amount of my clients think that they might not have enough to retire, and
Mm.
they actually do. And it just has to be planned properly. And again, if you're out there and you're thinking to yourself, I think one of the biggest questions, right, that really everyone asks themselves, even myself, right, at 30 years old, is when am I going to have enough? What do I need
Mhm.
to be able to retire with the income and lifestyle that I want to live?
Mm.
Right. And it's a big mathematical equation that no one can really figure out because there's so many factors that go into it. And I think that, if I'd have to say the biggest mistake is underestimating, of course. Okay. You don't want to underestimate. You don't want to retire and not have the full amount that you need to be able to make it, because you don't want to go to work when you're 75, 80, or you don't want to be struggling, or you don't want to not live that retirement lifestyle that you want to live when inflation catches up and hits you, right? But I'd say you also don't want to overestimate,
Mm.
because that's 2 years of your younger self when you want to retire. And that's
Mhm.
2 years that I think that are the most important years, right? We talk about in the office all the time, our go-go years, right?
Yes.
65 to 70, even 60 to 70, right? Then you get into your slow go years, right? But the one of the biggest things I think people miss out on is, and this goes with Social Security too. So if you're out there listening, I can definitely help with that. But you've got to understand that right now is your time to where you should be doing the things you want to do, right? And I think that now, right, people are trying to push their ages out to 67. I hear so many people talk, oh, well, I'm going to wait till 67 or 70. I can work till I'm 70 years old.
Mm.
Why do you do that to yourself if you can retire and you can do the things that you want to do? And I think that people misjudge what health does as you get older. I know I feel it from, my age, right? And from when I was 21, 22 years old, I was in the wrestling, team, and competing pretty heavily in every single week. But my body doesn't work that way anymore, Jim. And I can't imagine someone going from 55 to 70, right? Which when it really, really hits you. So I think that a lot of the times people are trying to push things, and they're overestimating too. And that's a big thing. And I think that, first of all, if you're out there and you have either one of the two of these questions, do I have enough to retire? First of
Mhm.
all, that's a big question that I think that we need to address immediately. And the second thing is, you know, do I want to retire? Okay. And I know everyone's saying, well, I wish I could, or I want, but I think that that's a quick way to understand. And I think that there's an easier way for me to help people either quickly, right, or more efficiently retire, okay, to give themselves a couple more years, or right, to give them an idea of how much they can use to retire.
Mhm.
And I think that's what pushes. And for you guys out there, if that's your mindset, and your mindset is, hey, look, I want to know when I can retire, which should be, I mean, obviously, right? You want to, that's their whole goal of working your butts off your entire life, is to go retire.
Mhm.
That's when you sit down with me. So, I mean, you can give us a call. It's 850-565-1705. Again, that's 850-565-1705. And this is something that I think that, when we sit down, I go over some of these topics with you, but
Mhm.
mainly it's hey, look, what are your lifestyle's plans, right? Because you don't want to miss out on some of those years. And also, you don't want your money to be in certain places while you're still working and you're planning to retire.
Right.
Okay. And we talked about that last episode, and I think a future episode we're talking about it too, Jim. But really, there's a bunch of mistakes that you can make. Okay. Have someone at least set that plan for you,
Mhm.
right? And understand that everyone's gonna have a different plan. So if you're sitting with the same plan you had 30 years ago, I'm sorry, you're probably wrong.
And if you like that video, be sure to click the subscribe button and hit the notifications bell for weekly content just like this. And for more, click the video on your screen.